All right. I'm going to tell you a story tonight about what I should have known, and it involves a trip I took with my 8-year-old to the U.S. Space and Rocket Museum in Huntsville, Alabama this summer. Yeah. Overall, we had a great trip. We listened to great music in the car. We had some great conversations. And if we weren't at the museum, we were probably either walking to his favorite restaurant or he had full control of the TV remote in the hotel room. So my kid was living his best life. But something happened on our big day at the museum that I was not prepared for. Threw me a bit of a curveball. And in the museum, there is this place called the Simulation Zone. And the Simulation Zone is a series of activities or rides that kids can participate in that simulate, keyword here, the experience of what it's like to train as an astronaut or a pilot. So I told my kid he could pick 2 rides. So he knew right off the bat the first one he wanted to do involved the VR headset, blah, 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 blah. And then the second one is called the Max Flyer. Super specific. I am not paying very much attention. It's a big building, the ceilings are tall. I have a very energetic elementary school student with me, and I'm just trying to stay sane among the crowds of people. I don't know what ride we're doing. I'm just telling the person at the counter so I can pay for the ticket. So my kiddo and I take our tickets and we walk up to the Max Flyer, and we stand in line, and we come up to the ride attendant, and he scans our ticket. And his name is Jason, by the way. You will hear a lot from Jason in the story. And Jason says, "Mom, I'm going to need you to scan this QR code and sign our safety waiver." That is my first inkling that I have signed up for something that I do not know enough about. And but I have also, signed many safety waivers at this point in my children's lives, including for the pumpkin farm. So I'm not overly concerned at this point. I skimmed through it. I realized that the U.S. Space and Rocket Museum is not responsible for bodily injury or harm, nor death. And I sign it, and we walk into the ride. Now, what I noticed when we walk up to the ride is it's on a platform about as high as this stage. It's not tall. It's a big plastic pod. It's about the size of 2 car trunks stacked on top of each other. And it's shaped like a clamshell when it's open right now, and it will close. But it's got 2 seats right next to each other, and this is where we're supposed to sit. And I've seen some of the other rides. It's not tall like the moonshot that's going to drop you 100 feet. It's not that. It's not shaking and jiggling like the hyper ship over in the corner. So I'm like, this is tame. This will be cool. This will be good. I am not a roller coaster person. My son is. But anyway, Jason invites us to sit down in these 2 seats, and we seat ourselves, and then Jason proceeds to buckle us in. Y'all, there were so many buckles. There was a buckle across our laps, and there was a buckle across our shoulders, and then there was this big old harness thing that comes down and latches around your hips like you are on a roller coaster. And my heart rate is beginning to go up at this point. And Jason proceeds to then explain the controls that we see around our seats next to us. And he's like, this is how you go forward, and this is how you go up, and this is how you go down, and this is how you're going to switch the controls to your co-pilot. And by the way, if you don't do this and this at the same time, you're going to crash. So we're like, it is now, dear listener, that I realize that I have just stepped into a flight simulation. This is also a great time to explain to you that I hate flying. I do not enjoy it. I have flown a lot, and I will fly if I feel like where I'm going is worth it. I have flown across the United States. I have flown across the Atlantic Ocean. I have flown in big commercial airlines. I have flown in little single-engine tin cans where you are literally sitting in the cargo pit, and it is precisely for all these reasons that I do not enjoy flying. But anyway, I'm here for my kid. He's 8 years old. He picked this ride. We paid for the ticket. We're going through with this. And I'm listening to Jason explain how to pilot a plane, and I say, Jason, how long is this ride? And he says, it's about 5 minutes. And I'm like, okay, I'm calculating how many birth contractions I've been through that would add up, that would equal what I'm about to get into and what I'm willing to put up with at this point. But I'm like, okay, 5 minutes, I can do that. And then Jason says, this right here, this big red button, that's our medical emergency button. If you feel like an emergency is happening, just hit that thing and we'll turn the machine off and get you out. He said, Jason, how often does that button get pressed? And Jason sort of leans to the side and he scratches his college-aged head and he says, I've been working here for about 2 years, I've never seen it. I say, okay, cool. So then we are then locked in. Our pod is shut. We are ready for takeoff, apparently. And you are beginning to feel the machine power on, that sense of buoyancy you get when you are going down a runway. You are beginning to experience that feeling. And I'm like, oh boy, this is great. But I'm trying to stay calm. I'm trying to stay cool. Like, I want my little guy to have a good time. And when the pod is closed, there's a large screen inches from our face, and we see this vista of a tarmac and an ocean for some reason. Not sure who decided that pilots who have had exactly 12 seconds of training should be training near an ocean. But here we are. And so the machine powers up, and I try to move us forward a little bit and get us up in the air, because I would have preferred to just sit there for 5 minutes and let the clock run down. But I didn't think my 8-year-old would go for that. And so we get up in the air a little bit, and it's tilting and it's wobbling, and about 20 seconds in, we do crash, actually. But it's a video game, so it resets. And I'm like, how are we going to do this for 5 minutes? And my 8-year-old says, Mom, let me try. And I'm like, surely you cannot be worse at this than I am. So I flip the switch and my co-pilot takes over, and immediately we are upside down. Like, literally, it has turned upside down. We are hanging from the ceiling. The blood is rushing to my head, and my child is screaming. And this is not a, I'm on a roller coaster, I'm having so much fun screaming. This is a get me down. And I make the executive mom decision that this is an emergency. And I hit that big red button that Jason has never seen used before. And we feel the machine power down, and we're tipped gently back over, and we start to stabilize. And the pod pops open. And there's poor Jason looking as embarrassed as I feel. And he says, you can probably get your money back because you were in there for a whole minute. So. I say, yeah, thank you. And just to add insult to injury, as I am leaving, I see a big screen that is apparently hooked up to a camera that is inside the pod, so the ride attendant can watch your face the entire time, as well as can everybody else who's waiting to ride the ride. Oh. I'm sure we were great advertising for them that day. So that is the story of what I should have known, and I will say that even though I didn't know to read the fine print on this ride, I did know something very important, and that was how to help my child deal with his big emotions in the aftermath. And I think that that's actually really important, because if we want to build a better world, we do have to learn how to handle the conflict within ourselves and within our communities. And that's something I did know how to do that day. So even though it was overall a failure, I feel like that part was a win.